Okay, so we're going to talk about what inverse trigonometric functions do. Um, Firstly, we want to know what a regular trigonometric function does, not an inverse, just a regular one. Well, we have an angle, okay, and we get, so we'll call that theta. Theta gets inputted into our function, so let's say we'll call cosine or sine, and so we'll put it into cosine, and then we get out a value, which is, this is our function, and this is our output. So maybe I should write this over here. This is our input. So we input an angle into the function cosine, and we get an output of some value. Okay, well, the inverse does the exact opposite, right? It goes, or excuse me, it goes the reverse order. Okay, so in inverse, we have a value, which now we're going to have as an input, right? We put it into our inverse one, which our inverses will look two different ways, um, which one of them I prefer more, and that would be to write it like this. Each of the functions has an arc function, so this would be arc cosine. So this is the distinguisher. You may also see this, the cosine of -1. I don't like that as much because that other things, when you use -1, it doesn't mean inverse. It means the multiplicative inverse and not necessarily what this does. So arc, I would prefer you to use. So we plug it into arc cosine, which is also a function. So what this does is it takes a value and gives me an angle, which is an output. So the main idea here is that an inverse trigonometric function, which is this down here, um, the arc cosines, the arc sines, the arc tangents, and so on, they take a value um, and they assign it to an angle in a certain range, okay? It's a certain range of angles where the cosine would be that. Like the cosine of that angle would be um, the value that you inputted. So um, pretty simple concept. You're just going in reverse. Instead of taking an angle and plugging it into a function, a trig function, and getting a value out, you're taking a value and trying to assign it to an angle on the unit circle using the inverse trigonometric function. So it's just a reverse of what you've known before.